to get a lesson like that, and the urgency that we have to have defensively is great for us. Fortunately, we got the win. This is the second the second highest amount of threes taken in the country last year, and the third most amount made. And half their shots are threes, and it was that way again tonight. And we played fast. We did different transition drills to get ready for this type of game, but we've got to develop an urgency that we have to have when it comes to getting back defensively. Certainly with the rebounding, we did a lot of good things. I thought the 8 turnovers was positive. I think their press made us a little stagnant and got us, when we attacked, we did a fantastic job. When we attacked inside out for threes, we did a fantastic job. But we let that press slow us down a little bit. There's no question that we settled. We've got to get better at establishing our game when the game starts. And I think the first half these guys learned, and it was a hard lesson, but fortunately we escaped with it, is that we're not going to win the game against a team like Citadel by out shooting them on offense. They know way more about how they want to get all those threes. And the bottom line for us is we wanted to do a really good job of not over-helping on the dribble and staying with our men. They had numerous three-point shooters out, doing our work early. When we did that, we guarded well. Okay, when we didn't, they made open threes. And that's where we just got to continue to get better. So that's the number one issue we have right now as a team, that I said this back when the fall started, is how we're going to get our rebounding right. And that's what we've got to continue to build on. But we've also got to get our urgency right and our communication right defensively. And so to play at a pace like this tonight was a great experience for a bunch of new guys. Okay.
Coach, you talked about the 8 turnovers. You also have 18 assists. When you're evaluating this team and the guard play, like, how important is assist to turnover ratio?
It's going to be important. It's going to be very important, but I think it's more as the ball touching the paint. Are we getting it inside? You know, our bigs have got to become better passers. You know, look to pass the ball better. And we played 4 guards, right? That's what the game was giving us. You know, the game wasn't giving us a situation where our bigger guys were as urgent as they needed to be, you know, with guarding a team that's playing 5 out like that. And so when you're playing 4 guards again and you're delivering and moving the ball, there's so many possessions inside of this game. The more you're touching the paint and then making that kick, that's more important than any of the assist turnover ratios, because there's a really good opportunity you're going to have to get a great 3 because of that. But if we can build up and keep cutting back our turnovers and make simple plays, make simple passes, hit singles, like I always try to tell these guys, don't try to hit doubles, triples, and home runs, hit singles. And you hit enough of them, you end up pretty good. And that's times we did that, but at times we didn't. And we've just got to keep learning what settling is and what attacking is.
Citadel goes on an 8-0 run, pulled in 1. You call a timeout with 9:39 left. What's the message, and what did you want out of that timeout?
Well, we're going to be fine, right? So you got to do it with a way that they buy it, right? Because at that point, we've got to figure out this is not how we're going to win the game. The lineup we have right now is not how we're going to win this. And the lack of urgency was what the problem was. We don't communicate well enough, and that falls a lot on our upperclassmen. It really does. It falls a lot on our front line. We need some guys that are going to quarterback. You know, we don't have Nick Claxton back there being able to switch 1 through 5. You know, at 6'11" and a half with a 7'6" wingspan that can guard everybody. We don't have that right now. So what we've got to have, if that's not you, you've got to quarterback the defense. You've got to make sure you're doing your work early in the post. You've got to get up on shooters, right? You've got to be comfortable away from the floor. Nick probably wasn't that comfortable away from the floor a year ago right now. But we've got to continue to get there. Tonight, that's why we had to play a much smaller lineup. But really it became, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, we made a mistake coming out of that timeout, right? We wanted to get it inside, right? We wanted to get it inside. So we got really good guys, but the lack of maturity came out a little bit tonight, you know, with our settling and thinking the game was going to be won on offense and getting our head down when things weren't going as well. We've got to continue to grow through that. And we've just got to learn from it.
The rebounds, you're obviously not a big team. Is it a product of your physical stature, or is it fundamentals and commitment?
I don't know if it's fundamentals as much as commitment. I think that's what it's got to be, and I think what they're going to figure out is that's what's going to differentiate playing time. Okay, you want to play? Well, you're going to figure out how you're going to get on the court, right? And rebounding, defending, talking running both ends. Every time we got out and ran on that break or against the press tonight, something good happened for us, even if we didn't make the shot. But we're not physically aggressive enough yet. We're not urgent enough on the glass yet. We haven't been. And we've got to be that way on both ends of the court. But when you're gonna play smaller, okay, you may not get the offensive rebounds when you're playing smaller, but you've gotta get the defensive rebounds. And I tell them I wanna stop the shot, okay, and see a team picture of 5 guys in somewhere in that paint vicinity. Every time that shot goes up, I won't be watching it a long time tonight looking for that picture because it wasn't there like that. That's where we gotta get better. You know, we're not a team that is gonna have a guy, you know, Ray Sean's capable of it, but we gotta start doing it, okay? Ray doesn't grade out high enough at all on where he should be as a rebounder for his size and age, all right? Really, none of our bigger guys do yet. It's early, but they've gotta grade out even that much higher. But everybody, if we're gonna shore up and be able to compete, we've gotta have a team defensive rebounding mindset with 5 guys being in that paint vicinity to board it.
Who did you see as the leaders in tonight's game?
I'm sorry?
Who did you see as the leaders in tonight's game if it wasn't upperclassmen?
No, I think leadership is, I don't really judge it like that as much. I mean, nobody is taken away with communicating. I thought Anthony did some really good things. I thought Severe did some really good things. I thought Tyree rebounded when he wasn't worrying about missing shots, which we just can't have him be like that, right? I mean, he's got to continue to be locked in. I thought Donnell tried and showed some. But we're a quiet team, and we've got to break it. So I really am not going to give anybody the gold star for leading the way with communication or taking the bull by the horns inside of the game. But those guys I just mentioned did a pretty good job, or we wouldn't have won the game. So we found a way to close it out, which is very important. That's the greatest lesson we learn is if we're going to have strength in numbers, even though we might not have strength in certain positions per se, if we're going to have strength in numbers, then you've got to be able to play different ways. And I would have loved to have them have to match up with us. So they've got to guard us inside. But we weren't able to do a good enough job of being able to match up with them to do that. So the game was giving us a smaller lineup.
What did you make of Anthony's performance tonight, especially in the second?
I'll have to watch the film. I thought he did a lot of really good things. He's got to understand that when he's attacking, cutting, moving without the ball, I thought when they went boxing one, I thought they triangled to us. I did not think they boxed and won us, but they did. And he's got that in his repertoire. And I thought Anthony made adjustments really quick. We had gotten him off the ball in practice to prepare for any of those myriad of combination defenses that Duggar has. And I thought he did a really good job of coming off that. And then we had to get guys in there that could see and could pass the ball. So I thought he did I think he did a lot of good things tonight for a second college game.
Coach, Kentucky lost to Evansville.
I heard that. What was the score?
I don't know.
67, 65 or something like
I think
that.
it was
I've got an assistant on that
67,
Evansville
64.
staff. He was on my staff when we beat Kentucky and Indiana back in 2011. So
Okay. Well, I was
he's a
just
giant killer.
I mean, even against the Citadel, I mean, you come out of this saying, whew, at least, you know.
Citadel's good. That's a tough, you know, it's a tough scheduling matchup. They shoot threes, right? But it's a tremendous opportunity for us to. We've dealt with that now. We've dealt with a team that not only shoots it, but shoots it that well. But we've it's just part of it, right? I mean, there's going to be some very tough nights in here. Fortunately, we were able to get this one.
I want to ask you about Jaquan Walton. I mean, is he okay?
What do you mean?
I mean, he didn't play last game.
He
only
didn't.
3 minutes.
Yeah, he's fine.
Okay.
Yeah, he's got it. He's fine. No issue there.
All right, thanks, guys.
Thank you.